Best Bets show presented by BetRivers. The three-man weave is back again after our one-day hiatus on Sunday. The massive slate on Saturday, guys, just wore us out. We had to take a break, but we're back Monday through Thursday this week, plus Saturday again is our schedule. We tweeted it. You can check it out there. Fellas, hi. How was your weekend? I hope it was very good. Let's get some takeaways from you. Jim, you can start. You're wearing a nice little branded zip up there. I see. Wow, three-man weave
about
logo
that,
and everything. I love it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The new logo, not even the old school one. So yeah. My takeaway is the Owls are taking over the world. The Owls all around. Temple yesterday. Shout out to Harry.
Wait, not the St. Joe's Owls, to be very clear. Not the St. Joe's Owls.
St. Joe's, not an owl.
Yeah, so Hawks.
Hawks. Bird-ish.
Temple wins at Houston. Monsterman knocks them off the number 1 pedestal. Purdue elevates there. Florida Atlantic won 3 road games. They've traveled like 5,000 miles to win 3 road games. At UTSA, at UTEP, at Western Kentucky in a week. Not bad. And then Rice also won at North Texas. They went 2-0 last week. It is a good week to be an Owl, Matthew. And tip of the cap to the Hoot Hoots.
Yeah, that's funny. I think I mentioned how Houston was like the one team I thought was not vulnerable. And then sure enough, their next big game, they look extremely vulnerable at home.
Big. It's a 19-point favorite. Ooh.
So the Matt Jenks still has much power, Kai. So be clear of that. Mm-hmm. A couple people on Twitter talk about how their shot selection, not ideal, heavy reliance on mid-range. I guess that's a fair concern I may have overlooked, but I still believe Houston's the best team in the country, and I'm not going to overreact to that one loss. Temple, by the way, kind of legit. That defense. Very good.
They're legit, but they're hot and cold, baby. They're Jekyll and Hyde. Yeah. You never know what you're going to get from Temple. They're talented.
They will lose to East Carolina in a week or whatever. Like that's just what they do.
Yeah, Temple down in Houston was obviously a takeaway. I don't want any hot take artists though about this game. I don't want overreaction saying Houston's not the best team in the country. They are. They're still the number 2 defense in the country. That tracks. They're top 15 on offense. Shot selection be damned. Hush out there, all you hot take artists. Every team's lost this year. But Cal is also my takeaway, guys. California, they remain winless with Devin Askew in the lineup. They're 0-13 with Devin Askew in the lineup. They're 3-4 without him. Hilarious stuff. They just got smoked by Oregon State. Devin Askew worth minus 10 points to the line, something like that. Crazy. All right, moving on. Let's go to the outline. Let's talk about the games today. Short slate, but a couple good ones on there. Some fun things to talk about. Obviously, the marquee matchup today, Matthew, is Kansas at Baylor. Can KU stop the bleeding? They've lost 2 straight. We talked about last episode how their Big 12 record could look very different if a couple possessions went one way or the other. And really same for Baylor. They could be 6-1 right now. They've won 4 straight. Do you think Baylor keeps it going? Do you think Kansas stops the bleeding?
Talked about how Kansas, I've had like you bet on the road, fade at home, just with the splits of how their matchups have aligned. They haven't been as dominant as a home favorite this season. But like when they just kind of have to win, they're usually a pretty good bet on the road. However, this spot against Baylor, I don't love because Baylor is a buy low for me, Jim. Buy low in quotations because I just still think their price is still a little bit cheap in the marketplace. Jordan Majeski, though, very astute observation. Bill Self off a loss, 63% against the spread historically. I think there's something real to that. Didn't take Baylor, Kai, but that was my lean.
Well, Kansas was off a loss on Saturday, Matt, and they did not cover. So, maybe something different. They've in 20 years with Bill Self in charge, they've lost 3 in a row, 3 times. It's just like they don't do that. So, it would be a rather surprising exception to see them do it here. I do kind of like the spot for Kansas, Kai. It's a little buy low, sell high, just in recent form. With Baylor winning 4 straight, Kansas losing 2 straight. I think the look to bet Kansas on the road has some juice to it, that angle that Matt's discussing. And since Scott Drew has been rebuilding Baylor, they've been a favorite over Kansas 7 times, and Drew Self is 6-1 against the spread. Wow. As an underdog against Baylor, 5-2 straight up. And those aren't like huge spreads, obviously. So if you're winning, you're probably covering. But I think that matters a little bit. Solid matchup for them too, Kai. The wing size, I think, is going to be a problem for Baylor. Their smallish backcourt could have some issues switching on to Wilson or guarding Dick or McCullough. And on the other end, I don't think I'm going to panic too much about maybe a slight quickness edge for Baylor. So I actually do like Kansas here, plus 2.5 on the road. I would take the Jayhawks.
Yeah, down to 2 actually at BetRivers. They've taken some money for good reason, I think. Baylor's D's been pretty ugly in Big 12 play. I think KU can absolutely exploit that. To Jim's point, there's no real answer for Jalen Wilson. He's been awesome, and they move the ball extremely well. And though Baylor's had the best offense in conference play, I didn't get the warm and fuzzies watching them on Saturday against Oklahoma. Flagler was weirdly loose with the ball. There were way more mental lapses than I'm used to seeing from a Baylor team. It kind of took me aback a little bit, guys. I was surprised from what I was seeing from Baylor, but I think it's going to take a major effort for them to beat Kansas. I do kind of lean towards the home team generally in these Big 12 matchups, but I admit KU +2 sounds pretty tempting. I'm staying away fully in this game. Duke at Virginia Tech is where we go next. Va Tech taking a little bit of money here, spreads up to 2.5, 3, I believe, in most places. Well, we don't care about most places. 2.5 at BetRivers. Jim, Va Tech is in major trouble. They blew a golden opportunity at Clemson, and now they sit at 1-7 in the ACC. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, they haven't really recovered with Couture in the lineup the way we thought they would. I'm wondering if Matt is going to say that Blacksburg's a house of horrors, and I'm going to allow it, Matthew. I'm going to allow you to say it. 1-4 last 5 games in Blacksburg,
really? Okay.
both straight up and against the spread for Duke. Castle is a tough place for them to play. Here's a fun fact, Matt. How many times has Virginia Tech been favored over Duke ever?
Twice.
0.
Wow.
First time in history. I checked that with 2 different sources. It is
Holy
a fact. So really shocking there. It is surprising to see a team that's lost 8 in a row favored against
as a
Duke.
favorite to Duke. Yeah, I agree. I like Duke here just from on that angle. And Roach back in the lineup played. He played was solid last game. Looked pretty effective. I just think he's really key for that offense, which gets a little too stagnated at times, which again is still surprising to see such a lack of inventive stuff in that offense, Kai, with my guy John Schauer, who I touted over Billy Donovan foolishly once on this program before. I do like Duke though on that number. Castle does scare me, but I just don't think Va Tech as a buy low should be priced this high, I guess. If that's your angle to Va Tech here. I don't get that.
Yeah. I mean, not only the House of Horrors thing, Duke's been poor lately. They haven't covered 5 straight. They're 2-8 against the spread their last 10 games. So clearly still overrated out there in the market. Having said that, I think Virginia Tech, this version struggles with athletes. I think Duke could very much find an edge there. And if they keep their poor shooting up, Virginia Tech, I don't see how they get to the rim or compete on the glass even. So I like Duke here +2.5. I haven't really bet on them much this season, but I lean their way tonight at Virginia Tech.
I was going to butt in with the athleticism thing, but you hit it. I think that's we said it about Basili in the preseason with Virginia Tech, and I think it matters.
Moving on, great game in Mountain West, fantastic one. New Mexico at Nevada. Matthew is the Nevada whisperer. I'm kind of surprised, frankly, that New Mexico's seemed to lost its luster in betting markets. This is a good team, man. They've covered 3 of the last 4. They missed the last game by 0.5 point. They're also 3-0 against the spread as an away dog this year. Matt, who do you like?
New Mexico pressure lost that game to Boise. Just kind of a tough spot here from that angle coming off that game. Nevada was laying 2. I believe it closed 2 when they hosted Boise. Boise played, went to OT, basically played to like a pick. Now Nevada is laying 3.5. So market's telling you that if they think that Boise is a point better than New Mexico. Kai, to your point, I'm not sure I buy that, even though we just kind of saw that play out. So I don't know, Jim. I didn't take it, but that was kind of I think a slight mispricing in the market. To your point, Kai, you still believe in New Mexico. I think you could take them here at 3 and feel pretty good about yourself.
That's great to hear, Matt. Since you are the Nevada whisperer, I definitely lean towards New Mexico here. So I needed like your stamp of approval that it was okay to fade Nevada. It's not some cardinal sin today. So big on that. Kai, you mentioned the road favorite stats or road dog with New Mexico. They won at Viejas. Like it's pretty tough to do.
Yep.
And 3-2. My perception was they were not as good on the road this year because the Pit is such a big home court advantage. But 3-2 against the spread overall on the road, +9 cover margin. Like they've been better than expectations on the road fairly consistently. I would side with them as well. Not convincingly though. I didn't actually bet this one. It's just a lean here.
Well, here comes the other side of the stat, fellas. Nevada, 6-1-1 against the spread at home. They are tough on their home floor. The Lobos are vulnerable inside at the rim a little bit. Nevada can exploit that. Mexico's dead last in the ACC in 2-point field goal percentage defense. But man, with House and Mashburn, with that combo, you're always in the game. The number I think is just too high. 3.5. I'm a big believer in this team.
That's right. It's too high.
The spot probably favors Nevada. Again, the home split is no joke, but New Mexico plus 3.5 is my best bet today. Go Lobos. I believe it's the second show in a row we've had Lobos as the best bet. Let's hope to win this one instead of last time where we lost by half point. But yes, that's the way I'm going tonight. Next game, Wisconsin at Northwestern. Chicago's Big Ten team, Jim, the Cats, have not played in like 8 days due to COVID. Wisconsin hasn't played in 6 days, but I don't think they had COVID. I don't think that was a COVID thing. Who do you like tonight at the Welsh Ryan?
Yeah, these two were supposed to play Saturday, but got pushed to Monday because of Northwestern coming out of their COVID pause. I wonder how much they were able to practice. I think it was reported they were down to 6 healthy players at one point. So that is more of a limitation than Wisconsin not playing, because Wisconsin could at least play 5-on-5 in practice rather than 3-on-3. Guard has kind of owned Collins, 5-0-1 against the spread the last 6. Wisconsin's won 7 straight up against Northwestern. I like Wisconsin here, man. This is my best bet, Kai. We're both getting best bets in before the first chat mob break here. Mm-hmm. Wisconsin plus 2.5 for me. I know Max Klesmit's banged up, might not even play, but they still have their 4 best players with Wall, Crowell, Hepburn, and Asigan. And Jordan Davis can kind of cover that up. I think Wisconsin just got a little undervalued in the market map because they were 0-4 against the spread when Wall left the game or did not play. And so now you're getting a couple extra points here, low total game. Give me the Badgers, no travel, reasonably friendly crowd in Evanston. Yeah, give me the Badgers.
I buy that. I'm not a big Wisconsin guy. I actually think Northwestern's a little bit overpriced. So I actually agree with you. But from the other angle, their shot making I thought was a little bit unsustainable. I think their defense is legit, but not as legit as the numbers indicate. I think we've all seen the Matt Nicholson emergence. I'm probably like, oh yeah, that guy's like a pretty legit rim protector. I just don't think he's going to hold up at the level he has against Big Ten competition as the year wears on, and Wisconsin can punish you up front. I think the guard dominance, there's something real to the matchup here, the identities of both these teams. So I like Badgers too. Again, not a big home court here. This will be 30% Badger fans in the building. So
yeah, I mean, maybe more.
Yeah.
And they're a different team with Wall in the lineup. I do think they've gotten underrated. Northwestern's not bad, but you're telling me this team's 14 spots higher than Wisconsin and KenPom? There's no chance. They're just not. They're not better. Wisconsin's a better team. They don't turn the ball over. That's key against Northwestern. They basically live off live ball turnovers. That's how they've been so good defensively. And though Northwestern's offense on the other end can stall, they can sputter. And I think the Badgers have a lot of mobility, especially to guard a guy like Barron on the perimeter, who sort of killed these slower-footed Big Ten forwards in the past year. I like the Badgers too. Ugly game, low scoring. Go Badge.
Rock on, go road teams. We're big road teams in that first half outline.
Yeah, disrespecting home.
Oof. We are. Matthew, Chat Mob, part 1. You got it.
It's very light. We have we'll go to the total part of this equation because the side will feature a best bet at the end of this program. But Chicago State versus Coastal, Jim. This one means nothing because Chicago State is an independent program. Coastal, one of those teams offering to play one of these independents in the middle of their conference play. Bobcats have been off for 2 weeks, as I'll talk about at the end of this show. But the under was where some folks were looking. You have a total take here.
Coastal will probably throw some weird zones at them, and I think Chicago State likes to win one-on-one with like their 2 or 3 actual talented offensive players. So I sort of buy it from that angle, but I didn't have anything strong. I wrote up the Hartford under for Action Network best bets, but these independents playing teams in the middle of their league season, it's just like hard to figure out how the game's going to play out. Are they going to care? Are they going to try random stuff that they don't normally do during league play? That's a tough one to decipher, Matthew. So maybe if you're going to bet it, I would go like a half unit on that.
I like that angle. Kai, I'm going to toss this one. Actually, I'll ping pong it from you back to myself. Asking me is Samuel about my Delta Devils featured behind 9.5. Big number today against who they playing? I'm
Southern,
right? Southern. Yeah, I just thought it was a little bit. Money's taking Southern up to 10. Now I have nothing strong there. So sorry to burst your bubble, but no insight.
Number.
I took
too small.
I took
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, Ivory's been good. They've been mucking games up.
Better.
I think Ivory's good. Okay. All right. Well,
no, he is good. They've been way better than they have in the past, for sure.
Disrespecting my Valley. Kai, that's literally all we have. Back to the outline.
Oh, fantastic. Let's start with Colgate at Boston U. I'm looking at the spread, but I know Colgate took a bunch of money this morning. They're up to 7.5. Woo, steaming at BetRivers. Jim, Colgate's not been its usual dominant self in Patriot play. They're 3-5 against the spread. They have not covered for the last 5 games. Pretty shocking, given the history of this team recently in league play. Who do you like tonight?
Yeah, well, after the first 3 games, we're like, maybe we should just auto bet Colgate in league play. And then they went 0-5 against the spread. So thankfully we weren't just
I got
totally
off that,
doing
thankfully.
that. Yeah. The offense is fantastic, but the defense really lacks athletes. The Colgate's 2-4 against the spread, last 6 against BU. I think Joe Jones is he's not quite as sharp as James Jones, his brother, but he's a good, solid coach, especially as an underdog here. They have better athletes than Colgate does, at least on the wings. So I think they can cause some problems there. But Colgate's actually really dominant in the paint with Woodward and records. I did lean towards Colgate when I saw this at 5 last night, Kai, and even maybe under 7. I would have leaned that way, but it's over 7, 7.5. It's too rich for my blood now, Matt. At this point, I can't get in on the Raiders.
Yeah, I kind of like the punchback with Boston at the current price. I know I hate Boston. I've talked about that, but it does feel like a big number. These two teams, last year Boston got them at home, so it's like a group of that old nucleus that's played Colgate a bunch. You know, I always hate fading Colgate in general, but I do think you're right with the coaching edge from Jones and the familiarity with Colgate stuff.
There's no edge. Langle's much better
edge
coach.
over Langle.
Okay. I would say the coaching, there's not a big of a coaching edge that Langle has over. I would say Jones is one of the better coaches in this conference. Would we disagree with that? He's upper half.
He just doesn't have an edge over Langle.
Langle's probably the best. Langle's the best in this conference, no doubt about that. But just the older group, familiarity with the system. I think Boston keeps it close, but then a touchdown at home.
BU is too frustrating for me to bet on. They have a lot of talent, but they make a lot of mistakes. They take terrible shots. In game 1, they led Colgate most of the way. They did cover as well. Colgate couldn't score inside. They also missed a ton of free throws. I just think this team's way better. Their offense is awesome, and frankly, Boston's defense is very undisciplined. And I do think that's a bit of a reflection on the coaching. I was a Jones fan. After watching his team this year, I'm just not. I don't think they're well coached at all. So I lean Colgate here, even at 7.5. It's a big number, but lean their way. Norfolk State at Morgan State. This one's big, Matthew. These are 2 of the 5 teams that are tied for first place in the MEAC currently. Morgan just got smoked at Howard last game. Excuse me. I think that's a bit of an anomaly, but here's what you got to look out for. This is steaming Norfolk State. Here's why. Malik Miller got hurt last game for Morgan. It was a bad ankle injury. I bet he's out.
Wow.
Hence the money for Norfolk. Otherwise, the spread's pretty high. What do you think?
I thought it was high too, but man, Norfolk's awesome. It's annoying that I see that one like blemish on their result is the Howard loss, and Howard's a team that I haven't been able to profit on, who I think is better than they played. So just a frustrating transitive issue of whack-a-mole betting there. I kind of agree with the money. Now it's too high though to actually lay it, Jim. I just hate. 6 is in these games where you feel like the talent's pretty comparable on both sides. I hate laying the points in that situation, but Norfolk might actually be truly a cut above Morgan and the rest of these guys.
Yeah, I think with Miller out, the talent's like not actually very close. They're already missing Datorian Ware, and I think
they're out Ware too. Yeah, Ware's huge. Yep.
A lot of their talent's been kind of sapped away, and I mean, look how much they collapsed after Miller got hurt in that last game. Like just nothing without him. He's kind of heart and soul, key ball or on ball creator, but also like their best 2-way rebounder, despite being a guard. Like he is pivotal. Norfolk State, I think, is starting to ascend towards the top of that league. Kai, I hope they emerge from that 5-way tie because I have some nice futures money on the Spartans here with everything they have back. I know Ings is out, but they've been okay without him, and Morgan's missing a lot more than Norfolk is, given some of the guys that have been out for the entire season. So I sort of lean towards Norfolk, especially if Miller doesn't suit up at all.
Yeah, I saw the steaming to 6, and I was like, that's crazy. I'm taking Morgan. And then I looked at their box score. It's like, oh, Miller, it was 9 minutes. Actually, it might have been a knee injury, maybe not even an ankle. I saw he was probably out for this game. So no thanks. I'm not going to fade Norfolk in that situation. 6 is probably fair currently. All right, Horizon League, here we come. Oakland at Detroit. Mercy, include the Mercy. Yes, they definitely are leaning into that name. Jim, Oakland, they kind of turned it on in Horizon play, but not great results last 3. They haven't covered in the last 3 games. Who do you like tonight?
Yeah, they're not trending as far up maybe as we thought they might, but they are 6-3 in the league. The thing that jumped out to me here is, Matt, Greg Campy owns Mike Davis. Did we know this?
I don't think I did know this. No, this is news to me.
8-1 straight up and against the spread. The only loss was the back-to-back second leg of the COVID year. So like anytime they've had any remote preparation, Campy has won like every single time, 8-0. So I just have to lean Oakland's way on that angle. I think the zone might kind of mess with Antoine Davis's ability to get the shots he wants. And we know that Detroit's lineup has been really kind of like in and out. A lot of guys have played and then not played. I believe Liddell missed over the weekend. Yep, he's huge. No Liddell for Detroit. That's enormous. So yeah, man, this would be Oakland for me here. They've taken money, but I think there might still be a little bit of value.
I think there was at 5.5. I can't support +4. I think it's the right side though. The matchup with the way Campy plays that extended zone. I'm not sure if he like has a unique like double team scheme that he deploys, but it makes sense to me that Davis would have a little bit of like issue getting into a groove, and it does force him to give up the ball and make his supporting cast, which is always the question with Detroit, right? It's like how good / healthy is the supporting cast? Davis is going to be there every night. He had like 40 something last game. But I don't know, Kai, with the Stone question mark, and I mean, like Liddell question mark, even if they're trending in the right direction, Davis is continuously frustrated with the lack of continuity. That like even like the first game they get all those guys back, I think you need to see like one or two to feel good about it. So I don't know. I'm not in any rush to back to Detroit here either.
Yeah, Davis, he said back-to-back 40-plus point games.
He had 40 game before too.
19 threes in the last two games.
19 for 36 over the last two games. That's from three, just three. He shot 36 threes in 2 games. Yeah, the zone angle is pretty big. Oakland beat Detroit last year. I think both teams score, though, pretty easily. Detroit's offense has been awesome. Davis is unstoppable. Even against the zone, Davis is going to score. Their defense, though, 348th in the country. Oakland's going to score. Jalen Moore is pretty tough to defend as well. So I would lean the over, if anything, here. I kind of agree with the money. But like I said, Oakland's last 3 games, not great. Smoked by Youngstown, beat Rock Morris by 4, needed overtime to beat IUPUI. That's the most shocking result. Yeah. So, yeah, lean Oakland a little bit, but over probably is the biggest lean here. Last game on the schedule here, it's Swaction. Grambling State at Arkansas Pine Bluff. I don't think we've had Pine Bluff on the outline before. Welcome to the outline. Matt, the key here for Grambling is Cartier Gordon. Where is he? They're 0-2 against the spread without him. They're 1-1 straight up. They're excellent with him on the floor, but where is he? What do you think?
No, I don't have a beat. I should probably text Jackson. I have his number, so but I'll holster that for now, Mr. McKeon. For what I do know, I think this line felt short to me. Like I know even without Gordon, they've not been the same. And Gordon is like, you throw it inside, you can get you free buckets. It's kind of a cheat code in this conference. He's not all the way consistent, but he's been dominant enough to mask those inconsistencies in this league. But I just think Grambling's been better. So I think laying the 3.5 on the road gyms where I lean. I just don't love fading road teams in this conference this year. Home court's been immensely huge from what I gather.
Yeah, I wouldn't take it without Gordon in there. I think he's enough to swing the handicap for me. If he plays, he is that dominant. I mean, he's a former top 50 recruit, like 250-pound behemoth in there.
Yeah, he's huge.
Just bully ball. But Pine Bluff's been really solid. They won 5 conference games last year. They're already 5-2 this year. Bozeman's done a nice job turning them around. They just beat Southern. We mentioned Southern's coming off the loss. Like that was to Pine Bluff. Really impressive W for them there. So I'm staying away unless Gordon's in, Kai, and then I'd be okay to back Grambling. But it's like completely unreported and could be suspension, could be injury. Like you just don't know with him. He's so all over the board.
Yeah, line's 3.5, by the way. Grambling a road favorite here. Pine Bluff has won 5 straight. They won 5 last year, Jim. They've won 5 straight this year. All of them covers, including Southern, Texas Southern, Prairie View A&M. They've been really good. Their defense has been what's driving them. They've locked down every area except the middle of the floor. Wow. If Gordon played, it would be enormous. He would dominate them inside. Offense is still a big challenge for Pine Bluff. Sean Doss basically has to do everything for them. Line seems fair, but if Gordon's in, I would lean towards Grambling. Chat Mob Part 2, Matt. Let's round up the scragglers here.
Yep, let's hit last 2 Swaction showdowns. Jim, going to you for Prairie View at Alabama A&M. Another one where I thought the road favorite was laying a small number. This is probably my favorite of the road favorites in the SWAC today, the Panthers. Your thoughts?
Yep, same. I like Prairie View there. I think it's too short. I've never been a big Alabama A&M fan in recent years. You tried to convert me a few times, and I stayed stubborn. And we'll see if that pays off today because, I like the Panthers.
Kai, the other one, Texas Southern, Alabama State. I like the home dog here. The Texas Southern continuing to spiral. Are they? But maybe they're a buy low. Thoughts?
No, I think they're buy low. They're coming back. They won 2 straight. I think they're going to start winning. 4 seems a bit high, but I'm not that impressed with Alabama State. So I lean towards Texas Southern.
Yeah, they're healthier. They got Nicholas and PJ Henry back, like 2 massive, massive cogs for them.
Jim, I know you have a scorching hot take on Delhi State at South Carolina State.
Do I ever?
Anything?
No, I kind of lean towards Delhi State. I'm not sure South Carolina State should be touchdown favorites over anybody. Like that just seems
that's my thought too.
But Delaware State's also been pretty bad. They get blown out relatively consistently. So perhaps possibly the over there too. SC State is like the fastest defensive possession length in the country. They just press, give up a layup, and get going the other way. So I think there's a lot of points in that one.
Hi, North Dakota at Western Illinois, kind of a under the radar big board game on tonight's slate. Yeah. The Leathernecks laying 6.5. That was my initial lean. Looked at this closer. I'm like, you know what? This Leathernecks team just doesn't have the same juice as last year. I keep thinking it's like last year's WIU squad. It's not. So I stayed away. I don't think North Dakota is any good though. I still believe that devoutly.
I'm breaking something I usually don't do. I'm fading a team that I lost with on Saturday again. So I faded Western Illinois on Saturday. St. Thomas did not get it done. I'm fading Western Illinois again. I took North Dakota. They've actually been pretty competitive in the Summit.
No, they've been better.
They've kept a lot of games close. They just covered against Oral Roberts. They're not as terrible as they seem. 6.5 is a lot of points for a Western Illinois team. That's fine. They're fine.
And then that is it, I think. One last at the buzzer, Coppin Howard from the Paris over under. I thought a quick take on the side, and Jim, you can give a take on the total here. I thought -9 was a big number for his team of talent as Coppin, but Coppin's been quietly terrible. What happened to Coppin?
Yeah, Justin Steers out. Deal is in league play.
Yeah, key guys out.
Yeah, but Steers matters. Best big man.
Jim, total take
the over. More guards on the floor without Steers. Howard's really running more in league play. They had this weird lull in non-con where they kind of slowed things down. But look at their pace in league play. It's like way back up. I think they're an over team right now.
Tight read. It's time for best bets. Who's up first?
Jim Root.
Me. Timothy. It's the Badges for me. Wisconsin. Took them at before the first chat mob break, but to reiterate, Wisconsin plus 2.5. Guard has pretty much owned Collins. I think Wisconsin's a little undervalued in the market. And to Matt's point, maybe Northwestern's a little overvalued on the other side. I would have Wisconsin a slight favorite here. So happy to get points in a game with a really, really low total. Sort of intrigued by the under as well. I think it's going to be gross, but I like Wisconsin plus the points just a little bit more than the under.
My best bet. So Chicago State +8. Teased it earlier. I think it's sort of a dicey spot. You could argue it's actually a bad spot because of the fact of how long they've been off. I think I'd actually use that as a reason to bet against a team. But I think Chicago State's just been so uniquely feisty on the road in even the worst spots that I'm not worried about that. They're also catching Coastal in the midst of a weird off 2 straight overtime wins. They have to play Thursday and then Saturday again after just playing last Saturday. So this feels like just sort of a wrench in their schedule. I don't think you're getting a great Coastal effort tonight. And while the spot and travel for Chicago State could give you some heebie-jeebies, they've just been awesome in every spot this year. We're like, this is a game they're going to crack, and then they just play competitively to the end. So I think with the time off, it actually helps them too because they're not very deep. They basically play their best 3 guys every minute of every game. So the Bob Kittens on the road +8. Thank you.
And my best bet is New Mexico +3.5. Go Lobos. Go Lobos. All right, that does it for our show. Thank you to BetRivers and Field of 68. We are back tomorrow, same time, noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. We will see you then. Good luck.